Hey y'all. I am over here painting my house and decided I was going to use this opportunity to talk to you. I'll try to talk loud because I don't have my speaker thing. Actually, I do. No, we're good. Okay, so I was kind of just praying what we wanted to talk about, and this is what came to mind today, because honestly, before I got here to paint, I had no idea what I was going to talk about. But then I was like, all right, God, what do you want me to talk about? And this is what we've been talking about to myself, by myself, for like an hour now. So I'm going to talk to you guys. I'm going to talk to you about superiority and love and empathy and all those great things. And it's going to be a great story about me. Okay, so to start with, we already talked about love the Lord your God with all your heart and all your soul and all your mind. Well, today we're going to talk about loving your neighbor, which is the next commandment, and how it is impossible to love your neighbor as yourself while you love yourself so dang much as we do. Because nowadays, especially in America, I don't know about the rest of the world, I mean I do, but America's superiority complex is like intense, y'all. Okay, speaking from experience. So it is virtually impossible to love your neighbor as yourself when you love yourself as much as you do. So to start with, let's go with, I have a ridiculously long missionary resume. Like, my missionary resume is like a mile long. I would be interested to see if anybody could like list something that they've done on a mission trip that I haven't done. Okay, so I grew up a missionary. Obviously, I've told you this before. I went and did missions on my own later on when I got older. And so I've been to 30 different countries. I've done all kinds of missionary stuff. Teaching English, building houses, doing medical clinics, healing on the streets, casting out demons, yada, yada, yada. So many dang things, okay? The list goes on and on. And so going into the race, I had already done a lot of this stuff. So I went in with I was already a pro, okay? And so I was the only member of my team. There's 7 people on my team on the world race. There's 7 of us, and I was the only one with prior missionary experience. So I was kind of, I'm going to show you noobs the ropes. Okay. Not intentionally, but it was there. And we were, again, this is kind of, anyways, I'll get there. It was month 3, and so I'd already been on the team with these people for 3 months. And one of my teammates came up to me and she was like, Cheyenne, you're not better than us. Stop acting like it. And that hurt, y'all. I was offended and I was hurt because I was thinking and I responded, I don't think that way. I do not think I'm better than you. Like, why would you think that? And but after I, sat down and thought about it and put some genuine prayer and thought into it, I was like, wow, I do feel that way. And it sucked realizing that I had, on this like subconscious level, I felt like I was better because of all these things that I'd done, because of my past experience with missions, because I was, I'd been a missionary my whole life and I had this long list of qualifications, and I was like bitter. And I didn't realize that I felt this way until she pointed it out, and I was like, oh my gosh, crap, like I don't want to feel this way. I don't want to feel this way. And I noticed it like through several different interactions, like later on that month, like we would be doing something and it's something that I had done before, and I was like, you know what guys, just let me do it. You're obviously struggling, just let me do it. And after those words would come out of my mouth, I'd be like, oh crap, I just did it. Or like, there was a girl there, we were in Thailand at the time, and there was a missionary, long-term missionary who had been there several months already, or I don't even know, she'd been there a long time, and she spoke the language, and she was like really like tight with the locals, and she loved showing us that. And I don't think she realized that she was doing it, but I recognized it because I had done it. Because when I was interning in Nicaragua for those 3 months, I spoke the language, and I was there long term, and I was really tight with all the locals, and we'd be off like talking. And I loved like showing that to the short-term teams that would come down, because we had like 10 different short-term teams that would come down. And so I had plenty of opportunities to display my knowledge of missionary works and the language that I spoke. Not that and again, this wasn't like a conscious thing, but like after I saw her in Thailand doing this, I was like, oh my gosh, I do this. I do it. This is not good. Like, and again, I don't think she was realizing that she was doing it, but I recognized it because I had done it. And I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm better than people. This is a problem. Like, this is not okay. And so I really just had to have a really heart-to-heart with God. I broke down. I was like, God, I do not want to feel this way. I don't want to feel like I'm better than people, because I know I'm not. And he just had to, break a lot of things off of me. It took probably the whole duration of the race, which is this was month 3. So we had 11 minus 3. Anyways, 8 more months. 8 more months. And so it was just continual process of my teammates kind of pointing things out to me and gently walking me through the process of like, hey, we recognize this in you. Let's kind of work through it. And so it was really difficult and hard on me, but I just came to the point where I was like, okay, God. And I'd wanted to get here before, but I didn't know what was like blocking me. I didn't realize all these things were getting in my way, but I finally got to the point where I was like, I had been broken off of these things, superiority and all these things. And I broke down and I said, God, I am nothing without you. Like, I finally came to that heart realization. I am nothing, like nothing that I can do. None of these missionary things are of any value without you. Like, sure, you can use them. Like, it doesn't matter if I'm in the right heart place, you can use these things, but they are no value in me if you are not there, Like, why am I doing these things if they're not for you? Like, it got to a point in my missionary career that it became like a career. It became like, I'm adding this to my resume, and it's just another check mark. It wasn't about him anymore. It was just about me gathering these experiences. And so I had to realize that, and I had to realize my own sense of superiority and have him, and he was the only one that could break that off. Like, he is the only one that can break off a sense of superiority. He's the only one that can humble you and bring you down and say, you know what, you're not all that. You need to come down a notch. And I have, that after all those things, I was, for the first time in my life, really able to empathize with people, because even before, like, when I was accumulating all these experiences, and we had a lot of different things that we did as missionaries. We did the concrete things, like the building the houses and the manual labors and all this stuff. And that was what I wanted to do. Like, as a missionary, if you could give me a task, like, I will go and build this house. But if you want me to love on these people, I'd rather not do that. Like, I just didn't feel comfortable with that. I wasn't good at it. I wasn't good at empathizing with people. So it's like, part of me, I could go and I could like offer shallow condolences. I could, give surface level, comfort. But I wasn't good at empathizing with people, on loving on people, because I couldn't empathize with them, because I had this sense of superiority. And I didn't realize that was the reason until later. But because of my sense of superiority, I could not empathize with people, and therefore I could not love on them with true, genuine, like, love and compassion, because I couldn't put myself in their shoes and understand how they were feeling, And so I didn't really want to do those gushy, lovey-dovey things like the VBS and the prayer on the streets. Like, y'all can do that. I'll go build a house. And that was easy for me. But God kind of just like started bringing me into more of those abstract ministries on the race, and I was able to connect differently. But I've seen that a lot here, just in my job. I work at a coffee shop and a laundromat, and it's a fun little combo. But a lot of my customers I have seen, they really love to complain about these people who are in the laundromat with them. They're either too slow, or they smell bad, or they're in their way, or they're just taking too long. And they have this sense of superiority where they are unable to empathize with these other people. They're unable to see that these people smell bad because they lost their job last week and their water got turned off, or they're taking a long time because they're depressed because a family member just died. I mean, they're unable to put themselves in these people's shoes, in their fellow people's shoes, and realize why they feel the way they do. We're so busy with ourselves and with our own lives and with our own self-importance that we forget that other people have stories, that we don't take the time to digest. We don't take the time to empathize. We don't take the time to understand. And the reason we can't do that, and the reason we will never be able to do that until we deal with our own superiority. We believe on some conscious level that we are better than them, and that they are wasting our time, that they're in our way, that they should go somewhere else. That we're smarter than them. That was a big problem for me. I thought for the longest time, if anyone had a different opinion than me, that they were, and there was a girl on my team who came from a very different background. She was different ethnically. She was different. She grew up. Her family background was completely different part of the country. Everything about our experiences were different. And she thought in a very different way than I did, and it was very hard for me to get along with her for the longest time, because we just clashed. And it was just, and I didn't realize at the time that part of that was because of my own superiority complex. And then I thought that her opinions that were different than mine were wrong. It's like, I was the smart one. I had the correct opinions. You over here who believe all these other things are stupid. On some level, it wasn't a conscious thing. If you would have pointed that out to me at the time, I would have been like, no, that's not how I feel. And it's not. But on some level, I believed that I was smarter than her, which is wrong, And until God broke me down and made me realize my own humility, my own pride, until I was able to deal with my own superiority complex, I was not able to truly empathize with people around me, to understand that they come from a different background than me, that they have experienced different things, that their opinions and their understandings of things are different than mine because they've experienced different things. It doesn't make them wrong, it doesn't make me smarter. It makes us different, and different is not bad. And also different is not wrong. Your opinion and my opinion are different. That doesn't mean that I'm smarter than you. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of people, especially Americans, struggle with this, in thinking that they are superior, and they don't even realize it. They don't realize that the superiority complex is in there. I didn't realize it until someone pointed it out to me and said, you know what? You are not better. You are not better. Stop thinking that you're better. And at first it hurt, and I was offended, and I was like, you know what? That is not true. But it was. So if you're offended or hurt by this video in any kind of way, you need to do some self-examining, because you may not be smarter than the person next to you, unfortunately. You know what? And the reason why you can't empathize and truly love on your neighbor as yourself is because you think that you're better than them in some way. And you need to deal with that. And the only way to deal with that is to come before God and say, I realize this about myself, please help. Because I can't do it. So, there you go. Okay, I think I'm done. Yep, all right, thanks guys.